Alright. Overlay, go away. And let me go advertise my Twitch stream somewhere. There we go. And what else do I need to do? Let's set up 6 players. I'm actually going to want the 6 players. And let me also pick some different music. Unless we want to listen to the Empire Earth music, which we could do. Let me check what playlists I can offer. Or rather, which ones I can choose from. Angry rock. That doesn't sound like music for random map scripting. Classical. Do we want to do some classical music? You know what? Let's try that. Hello, hello. Thanks for joining. Let's add this to the playlist. Let's try this. There we go. Make it a bit louder. I'll make it a bit quieter. There we go. So yeah, I'm just going to do a relaxing stream here where we work on this map that we saw a long time ago. It's been a couple weeks. I had lots of real life stuff, and I was casting World Desert Championship as well. Team rank games. Ooh, how do those go? They should. The thing there is the team game elo is massively inflated. So when you start out at like 1,000, you're actually starting out at like the bottom 10%. So if you're slightly okay at the game, you should have a decent chance of playing alright in your first games. Compared to 1v1 where it can be rough. Nice, nice. So I've heard, yes. I don't play much team game. Well, I only play with my friend, and then he does his person douche, and I try to support that. But normally I play 1v1 a bit. Okay, I'm not so sure about classical music. Let's pick a different playlist. Elevator music, the jazz, let's do that. That's always solid. There we go. The question is really how to fix the team game elo. Oh, this is 6 players and 2 of them are trapped in the middle. That's not great. Well, the issue, I guess, if there were no people smurfing, making new accounts at low ratings just to boost their friends higher up, then it would be all right. But I have a couple different things to choose from. We can also do. I have the AoE 1 track. That one doesn't get blocked on the recording, and I also have the Empire Earth track, which I had playing at the beginning. So I have a couple notes here. I say layer under forests I wanted to do. We'll do that in a second. That's a cool trick. R&D everywhere, that can happen later. And the other thing I have a note here is give every player 2 towns on Ludicrous. So we can do that. We just do if Ludicrous map and if, and then we'll need a little gap here. Yeah, my original idea to rebalance the elo would have been to what was I think? Basically to create a function that maps the distribution of, you look at the distribution of the 1v1 elo. That's mostly a normal distribution. And then you create a function that maps like percentile rankings in the team game elo onto what elo that would be if it was actually a normal distribution about around 1,000 based on the 1v1 distribution. So that I thought that was a really clever idea, but then I watched, I think it was Spirit of the Law, who explained how elo, the absolute differences between players, should ideally be preserved because that's what's most telling about skills. That being said, I think a reset could still even be in order, but it's probably better to do some sort of smart system. I spelled ludicrous wrong, didn't I? Ludicrous. There we go. Actually, I spelled it correctly, but not for the predefined thing in here. Too many players can't happen on ludicrous, so we don't need that. When you mean on top, is like literally on top because the other player hadn't started their foundation, or just right next to it? Because both of those options are possible now. Let's add a ludicrous player count. Well, a ludicrous map size, rather. Let's hope this doesn't explode my PC. Oh boy. You can't see my mouse, can you, right now? It's doing the not responding thing. Oh, come on. My map isn't that horrible yet. Well, I might have just crashed the game. I don't think so. I think it's just taking a long time. Yeah, okay, yes, that happens when the other person hasn't started yet because they changed it so you can build. You used to not be able to build foundations. You know, if you didn't see, you could build them. You could only build them if there was nothing there, but that allowed people to scan the fog of war by trying to build foundations where they couldn't actually see anything. So now it lets you place the foundation, but then you can't start building it if there's an obstruction. Yeah, exactly. I mean, so what you're saying there is basically, I think, the right answer. Most people who play team games are not problematic, and if some sort of, if they disallowed, pre-built, teaming up with your friends in ranked, or disallowed people with too big elo differences, that would just hit many people who aren't doing anything wrong. So that's absolutely correct. Now this took a really long time to generate. I'm going to hit it one more time. I wonder why it takes just so long. Could it be the second town center or second land is actually slowing things down massively? I'll comment it out in a second and we'll test that. On the other hand, if it's ludicrous, people will be a bit patient, so. Yeah, no, definitely. Team game is about playing with your friends. I find. I mean, there are people, of course, who team up with randoms, but. Well, it just takes a long time to generate ludicrous. Trains and rivers are all good. We have an absolutely massive mountain here. Do I not have full snow at the very top? No, I don't, because that would look like grass. I could put ice on the very top. So now that I comment this out, let's try a generation where I save this change and now generate it. Let's see if that's any faster or if it's just ludicrous is slow. Yeah. There, I mean, we did some research, and it's just like, I mean, scripts that are really long just take a long time to parse. That's not the case with my script right now. That's the case when you know, define every 1% of the map with a separate land, and you have a ridiculously sized script that's like 2 megabyte. But also it could be the connection generation. I've observed that before, that when it's like a difficult pathfinding task, it can take a long time, which is surely the case here. Well, I'm going to say, screw it, on Ludicrous it gets to be this, but we're not going to be testing on Ludicrous anyway, because let's be honest, people don't play on Ludicrous that much as far as I know. If the performance were better, I'm sure people would. So let's test on 6-player. That's a solid map size to show typical team game situations. So we had all of our terrains. Now, though I had written down a note that I wanted to do some masking of terrains under forests. That was a new trick that I saw some other people do that I wanted to try out. So what have we got? Oh, it's been a while. Too long, to be honest. Swamp trees, swamp terrain mixing, cosmetic terrain mixing. What am I doing there? Oh, I was thinking about different terrains that look nice when they cosmetically mix. I think so. And then map-based terrain forests. A dragon forest on map-based terrain. And I have dirt. Map-based terrain. Creating dirt. Oh boy, I need to process what I'm doing here. But I think what I want to do here is I essentially want to create terrain. So I create terrain. I create dirt on some of this, but actually I want to create terrain. Let's call it map. Well, let's try with map-based terrain. We want to create that on base terrain. We want to create it on the dragon forest, but yeah, sure. And then we don't care about a layer currently. We want land percent 100. Number of clumps, 9,320. And now we do terrain mask 1. Now what this should do, and we'll see if it does, is that this dirt here won't stand out as much after I've done that. It won't look like dirt in a sea of grass. So that had no effect, I feel. Or if it did, it's... Well, okay, it worked in some places, but in fact 9,320 was not enough clumps. Or conversely was too many. Like this is the effect I want. I can actually show that. Like if I delete these trees, here I've blended sort of the dirt that's under the trees, but in most of the places it hasn't blended well. So what is the fix for that? We can set scale by groups just to increase that even more. But I think the actual fix is to do it about 5 times. Or call it 5 times, I mean. Or just to say, alright, some of it can be dirt, some of it isn't, and say that's good enough. Well, let's actually, there is another option too that I can also experiment with. We hide this and we go here to terrain mask, and here we do 2 here and see how that looks. Yeah, much better. So we just mask the forest directly when it's placed. That's a new trick that I saw in the World Desert Championship maps, where some of them had done that to make the forest terrain not stand out as much when it contrasts poorly with the surrounding terrain. Like here, it actually this looks all right with leaves because I put sort of leaf type things everywhere. But we can do the same trick there too. We'll try that in a bit. So we don't need that. We just need to put terrain mask 2 on any forests that we make. This is cosmetic terrain mixing. Swamp trees. Do the swamp trees need any masking? I don't have a swamp in this generation. Let's try again. Don't have a swamp here. I'm not seeing a swamp here. There we go. So here the swamp is this bright blue, but I'm placing that onto mangrove shallows, am I not? Let's see what happens if I plop in terrain mask 2. We'll take the same seed so that we have our swamp. I feel like that has no effect. I feel like that has no effect because the water green and stuff is happening afterwards anyway. And right now it's being placed on mangrove shallows, which look exactly like the terrain under mangrove forest. Well, let's try the trick that I was doing before. We will try water brown. We do water brown base terrain DLC mangrove shallow 100%, and then we say terrain mask 1. We try that. Let's see how that works. We can also, if you have any questions, want to talk about anything else. In other news, I finished all the campaigns except the DLC ones, which I don't own the DLC yet. I finished all the campaigns on normal difficulty. I can't really tell, honestly. What I need to do this properly is once again to delete a set of forests. I feel like this had no effect. Did I do something wrong? Yes, I did. DLC mangrove forest. There we go. That should be better. Alright, let's delete some trees. If I used small trees, I wouldn't have to delete them, but I don't like small trees. They look small. Yeah, so that's the effect I was going for. Basically now, instead of having bright green water underneath it, we have more swampish looking water underneath it. Cool. I think we're... Alright, so it's the same thing here where it doesn't fill all of the clumps. But, I mean, I'm even okay with that, to be perfectly honest. The African campaigns are all very beautifully designed. Maybe because the terrains are so different and the setting is so different. I like those especially. From the visual appeal side of things. The Almeida one had some tough missions in it. Alright, let's see what I have next on the list of things to do. Probably set up seasons, right? So... if what are we gonna do? What is a good first season to start with? If we can, yeah, we'll start with a frozen map. You know, if frozen, or do we want to call it winter? We can start with we can call it frozen. Else, and if. All right, reed tree doesn't need to be in there. These are all also just individual terrains. And then we say define frozen. Like that. And then we copy all this stuff. And I'm going to have to abstract a few more things that aren't in here just yet. So we'll go like that. And the map base terrain is currently 9. Now, 9 is... Where's my PDF? PDF here. Plop. Terrain 9 is grass 3. So in a frozen map, we're gonna want, I mean, we can just go straight for, well, we can make it one of the snow terrains, but one of the new ones. I updated this spreadsheet not too long ago, well, like right before this, to have the names better. We could call it, you know, Snow Strong. Let's start with that. Now try that. Snow Strong. And then we just see... Alright, and I'll hide the Firefox tab so you can actually see something at all. So what does that do? It gets us... Well, basically it makes the low areas be slightly snowy. If I picked 73, would that be then... Is that the one I want to do instead? There are 3 different snow options that mainly affect how strongly they layer. No, that's not the one I want. I changed it to 73. I was on 74 a second ago, wasn't I? I was. So we'll start with that. And then we can make the player, we'll make the player land. It needs to be a different terrain. We'll make it 73. Snow week. Take a look at how that affects our overall. Ooh, you streamed all of the campaign plays. Afraid I haven't had too much time to be watching streams recently. But hope you got someone to watch as well. I mean, we've got our snow here. Let's see what else we can do in our terrain business. Neutral land terrain with zeros. That's just grass. Where do we see normal grass still lurking around? Over here. So we can just make that the default snow terrain. Well, if you haven't played a 1v1, you could always highlight that. On the other hand, you can just highlight later games as well. Where is snow, snow, snow? Give me snow. 32. We'll do 32, just snow normal. We'll take this seed even. fine. The map is getting slightly snowy, but we have much more work to do. So, what else can we do? Lowland terrain. 54. So 54 is currently DLC Mangrove Shallow. That... is it? Apparently it is. Let's find all occurrences of that. Replace terrain, lowland terrain with lake terrain. Alright, so anywhere where we have DLC Mangrove Shallow, we should be able to replace that with lowland terrain, shouldn't we? To no effect. I think that's the only case there is Mangrove Shallow. So that should now have no effect. The swamp should still look the same, which it does. Except, how are we going to make a snowy looking swamp? I mean, lowland terrain... do we freeze the swamp? No. So what I need to do is I actually need to rename this. We're going to call that swamp terrain, because that's basically what it is. Yeah, Twitch only keeps things for 2 weeks. You can highlight everything though. That's what I figured out. Is it requires more manual work, but you can just go after every stream and highlight it, and it will be kept indefinitely. Mangrove Shallows. I think this will be Mangrove Shallows on all of our... Alright, so we have a lake terrain. And... lake terrain is one, that's just water. River terrain. Ah, okay, so river terrain can be fun. There we're going to do something fun. Our river terrain is currently 58. The heck is 58? 58 is water azure. Do I see some azure water anywhere? I mean, these are not rivers, these are streams. We might need a different seed for that. So when we have this water azure, let me not touch that yet. Hill terrain 70. That was gravel. I'm fine. Let's take a look at what other types of gravel we have available. We have, that's the one I'm using. That is lighter. We don't want that for this. Where's the wet gravel? Beach wet gravel, beach non-navigable wet gravel. I can have these sort of darker gravel. That might look good. On top of the mountain? Maybe I'll do that, the dark gravel on top of the mountain. So we'll keep that. That's just like normal gravel. Gravel. Then player land forest, map base layer. I feel like I haven't abstracted all the terrains that I need yet. But we can already do a bit of this. The map neutral land forest, that's currently the pine forest. That needs to be the snow pine forest, which is 21. I kept oh, I streamed on release day for Age of Empires. I streamed I I streamed myself playing the Art of War thing, and just I think you might even have been there, doing a very poor job of rushing the enemy. I feel like this this same track is looping continuously. Let me change this so it loops the next track. There we go, that's better. There we go. Snow Pine Forest. So now we should see some snow pine forests near the mountains, which is what I want. And then we essentially have this low area that's going to be... I'm not sure yet what it's going to be on the frozen terrain. Maybe we take the dead forest for that. That is... Forest dead is 106. I was also streaming when I was making Hyper Random initially. I think I feel like I streamed some of that, possibly. I think so. I think I did that. What did I say? I said 106 here. Dead forest. And then we'll do the autumn forest on 105 on the player lens. 105 autumn forest. So let's see now. We still need to deal with this mess of leaves and so on, and also to think about how we're going to do the mountains. I feel like I could put ice there, but then I can't put gold and stuff on it, so maybe not. Maybe the mountains will actually stay rocky with the gravel, like I was suggesting before. Do we see all three types of forest? That's the big test here. No, we don't, because the neutral... The map base forest, I feel like isn't being... It's 48. What is 48? It's Dragon Forest, but I don't think I use map-based forest count. I don't use map-based forest here. I call it DLC Dragon Forest. We need to do map-based forest. Neutral layer... While we're over here, we can also grab that and plop that up in our code as well. We're going to need that over there. And I feel like I have some more terrain definitions sticking around in here. So we grab all of those and we plop them up here as well. Something like that. We copy all of these, put them over there, so we can edit those later. Very nice. Okay, there's our dead forest. Now, I said some stuff with the gravel. So, where's the wet gravel? I would use the wet rock, but players associate that with it being not buildable, so 81 is wet gravel, so we'll do that. We'll do 81 there for dark gravel. Okay, yeah, that's not bad. And then there's ice, there's snow on top again. do I allow that? And I think the answer is no. I think what I do there is, don't I have like a hill layer? I don't see one listed here, but I do have one. Hill terrain, map-based terrain, hill terrain, map-based terrain, snow light. So I'm putting snow light on top of that. We need to do this differently and do this. We'll call this hill medium and then hill top. Hill med layer. Hill med layer, and then we'll call this hilltop. Hilltop. Yeah. We're still going to have to deal with the mangrove forest as well and that stuff over there. But we now have... That was hill med layer. And this was hilltop. We can put them somewhere in here as well. Those are forests, so all the layers should probably be condensed sort of like that. And we wanted to take hill medium layer and make that into the lighter gravel. Well, let's try ice. Let's try ice. Because it's only a layer, so if I go to my spreadsheet, not ice navigable, normal ice is 35. There we go. Let's see if we can make... Alright, you can build on it. That is good. It's kind of wimpy looking. That is less good. So what do we do for the hilltop? If I make that ice as well, what happens? I think then it actually becomes unbuildable. No, then it does this silliness. Because it is just a layered terrain as well. Do I have any more snow terrains that I can use? Or what if I put ice on the mountainside? And then have snow on top again? How can I cleverly do this? If I did 70 here for the other gravel. And then we put the desert gravel on the very top. Maybe. Where's desert gravel? Is 102. And not, we can put ice somewhere else, like in the rivers. Yeah. is that realistic? I mean, mountains are snowy, but if they're too steep, then they're not. On the other hand, the flat part would usually be. But I don't have more snow terrains to choose from, do I? I can plop like snow underbrush or something silly up there, but let's leave it for now. Let's leave it for now. So we call this is just gravel, and this is desert gravel. Desert gravel. There we go. And what else do we need to do? We're going to also rename this. We're going to call it Hilltop Layer. Get rid of the space. Cool. We need to deal with the mangrove situation, don't we? We certainly do, and also the rest doesn't look wow. All right, let's go. So these are a bunch of layers. If these are just layers, player land layers 1 is 71. 71 is underbrush leaves. That is okay. Let's say player land layer 2 is 5. 5 is just leaves. That's okay too. I want to get rid of this thing here. Maybe terrains 3 and 4. Layer 3 is 100. I think that's dry grass, so we can't have that. We're gonna try ice here again. What is this right now? We said this was underbrush. And we said that this was leaves. Yeah. Okay, well, we get our semi-icy terrain. I also want to get rid of this terrain here, whatever that is. We can put in some mud or something. 4, that's like dirt or something. Or what did I say? This is dirt. 3 is 3. Yeah, so that's gonna be. Let's check for mud. Maybe. Mud is 70, isn't it? No, that's gravel default. Dirt mud is 76. Let's try 76, see if that looks better. I just feel the whole thing is not snowy enough. Alright, there is a plan B here. What is the default snow? We just put 32 in a couple of these places. Like, that final one that I want to get rid of is these leaves, which I do need to get rid of. So let's just, if we just put 35 in for that. That just makes actual patches of snow. And I almost feel like we could do even more of that. Or something similar to that. If we do Azure Shallows or New Shallows. Where's DLC New Shallow? 59. That's another one that blends decently with snow. So we could do that. Like that looks fine, right? And then we need, until you see people's footprints walking through the water. I wonder if it really looks realistic to have the mountain tops be like that. Yeah, I'll have a think about that later. Alright, player lands aren't horrible now. I almost wonder, what if I made them, we'll call that, azure shallows. That's ice. What it was, 76. 76 is mud. And that's 35 is just snow. And on this map, I honestly don't care about balance. So I don't really need to keep these layers separate. Do I? Or could I... Player land terrain, make that 74 as well. Would that just totally break things? It might. Yeah, no, we can't do that. What if we swap them around though and put 73 there? It essentially has no impact, does it? So we leave that. We've got other things we can look at. Lowland layer, 76. I currently said 76 is mud. That is surely correct. So the lowland area, we don't has mud mixed into it. Of the areas, I feel that's one where the snow actually looks alright. Without us doing any significant changes. Did I swapped these things back, right? Need to make sure everything is looking alright. I feel like there's a lot of... But those are actual mountains, aren't they? I feel like this needs to be even snowier. We can try mixing it... That was the new shallow. We can also try mixing it with the azure water. It is in fact... Well, it was previous... It's like it's gotten a bit cooler now because we had rain a couple days, but it was quite hot, yes. But, of course, there's no air conditioning here because... We're not in the US and we're also not really that far south, so... What are these? I just have all these layers sitting around that I don't quite know what they're doing. Lowland layer. Map base layer. What is all this? I need to check in the code what I have going on here. I feel like lowland layer is actually that's a swamp layer. Yeah, no, it's been hot. But keep the window open all night, but that only helps somewhat. Let's just turn this into something I can see. Black. What's... Actually, we can start up here. Map base layer is 11. I want to see what this is, so I'm going to turn you into DLC black. It's 47. Aha. Well, I would much rather that that's like ice, perhaps. It was 11. So if I use the same seed that was responsible for all this stuff, what if I made that ice? That looks much better. Then I have a neutral layer 1. We're going to try this thing again where we put in black terrain and see where that ends up. That ends up near mountains. What can we put in there? Maybe some underbrush again, we can try that. Let's see how that looks. We already have a lot of that elsewhere, but that always looks decent with the snow on it. Because it's close to the pine trees. I feel like I could even leave the dirt, but maybe we'll make it some other kind of dirt. 71, we'll call that underbrush. Then we have... Wait. Do I just have two What? This isn't... Huh? Why am I defining neutral layer twice? That can't be correct. One of them should be neutral layer 2. This would be much easier if I remembered half the stuff I'd done. Alright, so now we end up with this stuff here too. Where I am tempted to call that part just snow or ice. We can put in some more ice. There are only so many terrains that you can mix with snow and still have it look good. Well, I feel like the low area should be the icy part. And the higher areas maybe not. We can actually not use ice everywhere. So what can I do instead of ice? Gravel can mix nicely with snow. Just normal gravel. So if we did that and that, would that totally mess up the mountains? It might. Or it might not. Yeah, I can live with that. I feel like there's still snow on the player lands. Where is that? Or ice, sorry, where is that coming from? Well, it beats me where it's coming from. Then we have this thing, lowland layer 76. What if we do 47? Where does that give us a thing? Nowhere? Nowhere? Huh. Create lowland layer on swamp terrain. What is 76? It's mud. Dirt mud on the swamp terrain. All the water green stuff ends up on the lowland layer. So basically there's no lowland layer left if we have a big swamp, is what this is telling me. Alright, we need a bigger swamp to really adequately test this stuff. No, I said a bigger swamp, not a non-existent swamp. That'll do. Alright. We can work with that. So this needs to be some sort of snow. We're going to start with strong layering and begin there. Because this, alright, lowland layer is going to be called swamp layer. Because that's what it is. Replace all. And then we try that. I messed up and didn't use the same seed. Hello. We are back at designing this map from a while ago. I need a really big swamp. So right now I'm implementing a frozen theme for the map. And we're getting there. Okay, we can use this seed. So that looks okay. Basically, I want snow to be on top of the swamp stuff. And I feel like I possibly didn't abstract the terrains here yet, so let's check. Swamp terrain, map-based terrain, none of these are real terrains. Yeah, swamp, hill, swamp. Water, so the question with water too is, am I going to do something there to put in icy water? But we'll deal with that in a moment. Here I'm creating mangrove forest. What could we call that instead? We could call that swamp forest. Because I have some fancy tricks planned there. Swamp forest. So we'll have to go up here and add const swamp forest, and mangrove forest is terrain 55. We'll just leave that untouched for now, but add it in there. Now, back to where I was. I was down at the swamp forest. I was creating water green and water brown. So we're going to call this swamp layer 2, swamp layer 3. This is going to be swamp layer 4, and this is going to be swamp layer 5. So we've got a bunch of swamp layers now. That should be all of the terrains with now generic names that I can use for different seasons. So essentially this, we're going to call this one actually, we're going to rename that to 1. And now we have to replace all of these, just to be careful. The final map, you mean, if that's for playing? Yes, it will be. It won't ever end up in any tournaments, surely, but I hope that people will at least have fun on it for casual games. Cool. Cool, I've renamed all of those. And really, I mean, this is... Right now I'm adding seasons. Once that's done, I guess animals would need to be added for each season, and then we can just do the rest of the resources. And I don't know, I could actually make it a nomad start. But then I couldn't have as many wolves, so maybe not. Only terrain. Well, is that... No, look, I have player setup already, and land generation, and elevation generation. But yes. And connections, actually. Alright, so let's just make sure I didn't completely destroy everything. I completely destroyed everything. Very nice. Why? I mean, I didn't completely destroy everything, but the forest doesn't seem to be working. Oh, I'm creating water forest here. Water brown one, that should be... That should be swamp layer 3, shouldn't it? Swamp layer 3. Let's try again. Hey, the forests are back. Can I make it choosable if it's normal? If it's nomad or normal? Well, I can make it, yeah, I can make it randomly a nomad start. I can also just offer, you know, when I upload this, just 2 versions, whatever the map name is, which I don't know yet, the nomad version and the not nomad version. That's the easiest way. Or I can do something, and this is something that other people have done as well. I think Hank has done this. There are some predefined... Basically, I can exploit a lobby setting. So there's you know, standard resources. That doesn't sound right. Normal resources? Normal? Default. default. There we go. There's a default. Basically, you can select the resource setting in the lobbing, but the trick there is that low resources, if I spelled it correctly, is actually gives you the same amount of resources as the default resources. So you can allow people to choose in the lobby if the players are aware of this. You can build in a switch that says, you know, if low resources, then it's a nomad map, then it's a nomad start. But actually, you still end up with the same resources because the low and default resources are the same amount. So that's sort of a hacky way to actually put a switch into the lobby. Just for your information. Now, I believe I have a swamp to cover in snow. So, let's go. So we need all of that. We're going to need all of that in here too. And we're just going to make all of it snow strong for now, and then we'll try some other snow terrains. For now, though, if I did that, do we then end up with a snowy swamp? Yes. And we still need to deal with the mangroves, of course. And also this shallow river here. Well, I mean, I'll put it in my map pack. I'm sure people will play it, and there are also some people who pick maps from our Discord for their community games, so I could suggest it there. Let's try something like this. What if I put that on, say, one of these here? So I could make parts of it less snowy. Yeah, something like that. Or maybe we don't do this one, we just do normal snow. That is a bit stronger still than the weak snow. The other option, of course, is to try some ice, so we should test that and see what it looks like. If I picked out some ice, say, and put it on this one. That's also one that would be good to know. I mean, that's what the ice on it looks like. I'm not overly convinced about that, if I'm perfectly honest. Like, if I put the ice on layer 2, how would that look? Layer 2 is the one that's most frequent. Did I not save changes? Wow. What if I put the ice on layer 1? Let's put ice everywhere except layer 3. We can always take another look at it at some point. I think it looks much better with snow on it, so no ice. Like here, the players, it will never be used in competitive unless it's some sort of, you know, chaos tournament, which those things do happen, not at a high level, but at a lower level. Because, right, the players aren't in a circle. So it's not remotely fair in that sense. Unity. I have good luck there. Hopefully it restarts quickly. I still have some random dirt terrain sitting around too. Although, is that the worst? Not necessarily. And then I have these huge, not very snowy mountains. Oh, I don't know. I almost think I make the top of the mountain snowy as well. Because I'm not sold on the mountain the way it looks right now. If I just did that. For every forage bush, 2 deer. Well, if you solved it, then that's perfect. I think you would need to use actor areas, yeah, to make that work. Because otherwise... Yeah, I think it only works with actor areas. Also, just in general, if you're making maps... I mean, I'm working on the pre-update build. There have been a couple bugs that were fixed with actor areas in this build. So, depending on when you need the map to be played, if there's still a bit of time, you might want to see if it works in here properly, which it should. Yeah, basically, they tried to fix almost all of the known bugs with actor areas, partially because the Empire Wars maps will now be... Well, Empire Wars will be in the ranked queue, and in order to do that, they needed to make sure actor areas work properly. Which main menu UI bugs? We can check if they're fixed. If you could tell me what specifically I'm looking for. I don't know about the mountains. What am I still missing? I mean, if the current version is doing all right, if the one that you're using is good, then that's good. I don't need to redefine all this, because it only works anyway once. The final thing would be to have some fun with the water terrains. And or to look at... Here, beach is being replaced by DLC Water 5. Replace terrain beach with DLC Wet Beach. I don't want to replace the icy beach, though, do I? Maybe I do. Icy shore with DLC Wet Beach. Let's take a peek at that. Oh, right. We'll still fix the swamp trees. I forgot about that too. Alright, we are not putting wet beaches in. It looks much better with the icy beach, so the icy shore can just stay. You're right, though. We need to fix the swamp terrain and the swamp trees, and for that, we're going to have to do a bit of magic. So, because I still want it to be mangrove forest, but we're going to have to do player setup. If frozen, end if. Now, we need to upgrade some trees. Wait. There are times when a player hits the leave Q button and it just doesn't do anything. No idea about that. If that's fixed. I haven't queued up, mostly because it would be hard to find a game anyway here. So we're gonna grab the snowy mangrove model that does not exist. No, we're gonna do this differently. I need an example script. What am I gonna pull as an example? Give me... What map did I upgrade trees on? We could try... Not Danakil. Pamirs is one we need. So essentially we need some code that looks like this. Not in hyperrandom. We need it here. So we don't want to upgrade bush A, we want to upgrade DLC mangrove tree, probably is what it's called. DLC mangrove tree. Oh boy. DLC mangrove tree. And we want to upgrade it into... What kind of tree would be growing in a swamp? DLC autumn tree, right? That's the one we want. Not a pine tree, autumn tree. Or we could do the... No. We need to do this. And then we can put in a few dead trees. So then we also upgrade whatever... What's the generic tree that I'm poking into the holes? I'm putting in oak tree. Alright, we can do this differently. We're going to do this... We're going to call this... Swamp filler tree. I wonder... Alright, we need to fix this stuff down there too. But swamp filler tree I called it, so we're gonna need one in there. Const swamp filler tree. So that used to be an oak tree. And the ID for an oak tree, oh goodness. Give me a second while I pull up a different spreadsheet. How is the UI? I mean, the UI looks the way it does. The weird thing there is that like they implemented like the battle royale queue and the quick queue, that quick play and stuff that nobody uses, that has a different UI than the old ranked UI, and that's a bit silly. Also that they hid mods and all that stuff in the little corners. That they made everything, you know, several layers deep. Let me just quickly go. So what I need is I need the ID actually for the oak tree. That's 349. So 349 oak tree. That's not a-OK tree. And then we want the autumn oak tree, autumn snow tree, 1249. Huh, it's also a 49. That's surely just chance, but 1249 autumn oak tree. Good. So we've done that. We can hide this again so you can see something. I haven't. So that will deal with the individual trees. This we only need one copy of. Now I also want to do something else. For each other season, I want to upgrade it back into itself. Well, actually, we can check if it persists across the scenario editor generations. That would be a good bug fix thing to test. That, yes, creating, it would be nice if you could just stay in the party. Also, there's a serious issue, right, with people... Alright, we'll take a look at that in a second. There's a serious issue with people, like, dropping, right? Or Alt F4ing when they don't like the map that comes up. This is not quite what I was hoping for. Where these mangrove trees are not supposed to exist. Oh, I know what I'm missing. Silly me. There we go. And actually, I didn't want to have the autumn oak tree in there. I wanted to have the dead tree. The dead tree is 1250. Dead tree. Dead. Well, yeah. So, and that was my thought too. Is just if you just punish exactly the issue there is that then it allows people to very quickly drop their elo if they want to. Right? It's an eternal conflict balance there, right? I think you don't lose elo also if you disconnect him, in the first minute. That allows people to dodge maps or players that they don't want to play. But if you didn't have that system, then players could just constantly disconnect immediately to drop their elo really, really fast. But I still think that would be the better system to say, well, it sucks that your internet is shitty and you disconnected, but now you lose elo. Because that's what happens when your internet was, when there were actual router problems. And you disconnected, 10 minutes into the game. Alright, so that's our swamp, although maybe I want more dead trees and less autumn oak trees. Should we make a dead-looking swamp? Or it's not dead, it's just not leaves, right? So what we're going to do is go to undo this. That's going to be the autumn oak tree again. But this is going to be DLC dead tree. What if the game crashes at the start of the game? Well, you lose elo if in the new system. Or currently that's basically you don't lose elo currently. So, what do you think of the swamp that I made? I think that's a good winter swamp. I think that's I can work with this. Now, actually, so yeah, there's one thing I want to test if this bug has been fixed. If I go like that, then frozen isn't true. So we should end up with the normal version of the map, right? Do we still have... Okay, so the upgrade remains. We now have the dead tree swamp, which honestly isn't horrible either. But that's a thing to be aware of. So what I'm going to do to fix this is I'm going to upgrade the tree into itself when we're not using it into DLC mangrove tree. Oh goodness, what did I do? This is why syntax highlighting is very nice. Okay. Well then. So you can't you can't reverse the upgrade by That's a bit of a nuisance. Can I do something clever? And do something like that? No. Is this tree just like permanently upgraded now? Actually, what we should see now is if I look somewhere where we have dead trees, we should see mangrove trees. Okay, this will need some thoughts. I had hoped that this would work. Oh, I didn't click. Because now what I should be seeing... Gaia upgrade unit. I should be able to upgrade the mangrove tree into itself. I feel like that should be a thing. Maybe I can upgrade it into a rainforest tree on the non-snowy map. This will only matter in the scenario editor, but it would be kind of nice if I don't completely butcher everyone's trees by doing what I'm doing. Fine, not frozen. So we still have those trees. Alright, we need to do some tests. So what if I just get rid of this? Will it undo my trees? It will not. What if I do DLC rain tree? I know all the tricks. Let's try this one. There we go. I've now put the rainforest onto the swamp, which I don't want, but... Alright, so... Alright, let's try something here. If we do... We're gonna do start random, percent chance 50. Define frozen. Let's go like that. End random. If this will then properly properly swap the trees for each. How did that just? So this is just a bit of a side thing. So I'm using the same seed, but because I put this start random here, this seed is totally different now. It's just not the same seed anymore. Well, it's still the same seed, but the actual generation is completely different because of this start random. If I remove this again, then we should have our swamp up in the corner there. Because I think it probably calls the random seed, and then when it continues using it, it's then further along or something, and the way the randomness works. In any case, we're not going to use the seed because we saw the issue. Right, we're going to have to deal with the sandbanks and so on next with the reeds. But... Alright, so the swamp... I think the swamp will alternate correctly. Except, do I really want to upgrade the mangrove forest into a rainforest? What kind of swamp? What would a swamp look like on a temperate map? Like a temperate swamp would just be like an oak forest. Not really an oak. It would be like willow trees and so on. Can I do something like this and put it back into a mangrove tree? Well, the swamp isn't dried. Well, I guess a dried swamp would be like a bog or a sort of a, well, that's not even dry, but like a heath. But that's not, it's not dry though, there's ships on it. Okay, this does not, I can't turn it back into a mangrove tree. What if I just do like one? Does that? Huh. Well, I kind of do want it to be a mangrove tree. How am I gonna do this? It will work fine in game, but I thought you could upgrade a tree into itself, but apparently not. None of this wants to work. I can bet you that doesn't work. Not in the least. It's well, it's not the thing that works at all. But what? All right. Well, let's see. Constant reference. Set attribute. What can we use here? It is, well, alright, I might be able to do this. If I just don't do Gaia upgrade unit, but I do upgrade unit. Where is Gaia upgrade unit anyway? Listed there, where's normal upgrade unit? Cool, so what we're gonna do is... try to upgrade the mangrove tree into itself with just upgrade unit. See if I can reverse it like this. Oh, you can't see, I didn't open the right, I opened a PDF instead of Firefox. I was looking at this stuff here. But let's see if that worked. I bet you it won't. Oh boy. Don't crash on me. It's crashing on me. The game crashed. That's interesting. Maybe because mangrove trees can't be owned by players, you can't upgrade them without, you have to do Gaia upgrade unit, you can't do normal upgrade unit on it. That is good to know. Also, it means we need to restart the game. So, let's launch that. And while we're doing that, we can go poke around and look for other things that we can do. This might be something, maybe someone the Mad Cat or Crazini has more experience with this. That can help me out there. Anyway, here's what the UI looks like. It's basically the same as before, except there's this co-op campaigns button. Currently, you can only test these 5 as a co-op campaign, but they're going to add a whole bunch of them when the update actually drops. Alright, and we are back. Let's do 4 players, just for some variation. So, lesson learned, don't upgrade trees unless you use Gaia upgrade. And also, lesson learned, you can't upgrade trees into themselves to unupgrade them. I mean, I guess this looks okay as a swamp. It will be fine in a match. That's the thing too. This is just a scenario editor thing where it carries over. I guess I could report it again. Or can I somehow... I don't think I can do anything else though. Let me look through the constants some more. This is not useful. We can change the color correction with the season, but... we can test that. Let's hide that. Not this, I want this window open. Okay, so let me explain the issue that's happening here. What's happening is it should normally it's my script says place a swamp tree, and then it says if it's frozen, upgrade that into a mangrove tree. The problem is in the scenario editor, once you've upgraded it once into the new tree, anything that you do further, like if I generate, what have we got here? What's it called? Like Sandbank or something like that. Some map that no one ever plays because it has mangrove swamp. You'll see that my swamp, like the change that I made, is staying in the scenario editor. It's a bug in the scenario editor. In game, it will be fine whenever you launch a new match, but it stays in the scenario editor. So actually, I just shouldn't worry about it. I guess I just don't worry about it. It's just annoying when you're testing a lot of different maps and then you're like, huh, that's a weird thing. Why is this happening? It's because you generated some other map before that upgraded a unit. What I was hoping to do was then say, well, okay, if I'm not using it, then I'd downgrade it back to its original form, but the game doesn't want to do that for me, so. Alright, let's finish off our frozen stuff. So we need 100% chance of that. Ooh, black patches. You mean back when there was the random black terrain on the map after generating a couple times? I guess it's a similar. It's certainly behind the scenes. It's something completely different happening, but it's for the end user. It's the same type of problem. Yes. Okay. Well, we have our frozen swamp. Now we have some... Alright, let's make the map bigger. I want more players. Let's do 6 players again. I want to figure out, maybe I make this river frozen? Like ice? I think I do that. And do I allow people to sail on it or not? Well, let's... because I have... What do I have going on there? Swamp. Place terrain, swamp terrain, lake terrain, beach. DLC water 5. Here, so... we're gonna call this shallows type. Yeah. It doesn't make sense, but there is an ice terrain that is saleable in the game, and you can do. I'll show you in a second. Let me just do this quickly though. We need what did I call it? Const shallows. I spelled type wrong, didn't I? Not that that matters, but let's do it properly. Don't want. Replace all. Thank you. Cool. So we want, if it's frozen, we're going to say it's ice. And if it's not frozen, we're going to say that it's shallows. So what's shallows? Shallows is one of the early terrains. It's terrain 4. Cool. Hold that question. Just one more second. Okay, so we have just normal ice. This ice should be... Units can go on it, of course. But buildings shouldn't be able to. Army tent E shouldn't go on there. And if I make a palisade wall, that shouldn't go on there either. So that's just ice, which is fine. That's except there's some silly land, there's some silly forests sitting on the ice. Why is there a bunch of forests on the ice? Alright, we're gonna have to look at that, but what? Maybe because I'm using ice too often in other places as well. There are a couple, so... Alright, let's... do I have the World Desert Championship maps in here even? I might not have them active, but I do have Antarctica, so we can do that. So... basically, there is an ice that can be sailed through. In fact, there are 3 types of ice total. There's frozen ice, and they all look the same. That's the problem. But there's frozen ice, which you can do nothing on, and then there's the ice beach, which is basically replaces the normal beach. It's what you have going around here, and then you have ice navigable, which is essentially shallows terrain of ice. So beach terrain, in order to distinguish those, beach terrain you can wall, right? In a normal game, you can wall normal beaches. So you can wall the ice beaches as well. You can't wall the shallows ice, because you can't do that, but units can still walk over it, and you can't wall the actual ice either. Here they look different because I did some terrain masking where I said, all right, deep water goes on here, and this all of the saleable ice needs to look different from the beach ice. But this part here is actually saleable too. So now the thing with the mill. bottom line is not directly, but remember that you can go ice fishing with a dock. And you can build, for some reason, you can build docks on this shallow ice terrain. So you can do ice fishing like that, and one of the other maps, the Mad Catter did that, where basically there was lots of fish and the entire ice you could build docks on. Problem is I can't do this trick with the layering in my map because I'm making the terrain too late down the script. I'm making it in the connections. Also, we can see here some cool things that I should try and use for the terrain mixing to make it look more frozen. Alright. So our frozen rivers, I feel like there's something happening here. So we need to take a careful look. The problem is I'm using ice all over the place. So we're using it as map base layer and also as player land layer 5. How can I deal with that? We try... If we don't want it to sail, then we can't use one of the other ones, but we can use one of the other ice beaches, maybe for the layer somewhere. If I do... I don't want icy shore. Let's try ice navigable. Has a constant. It's somewhere here. It's snow foundation. 26, isn't it? Or something like that. Ice navigable. Yep. We want 26. So what we do is we'll try putting it there. I think that will get rid of the trees up these rivers, but it might just have no effect at all. Okay, fine. Right, this is ice as well, yeah. What is going on here? Alright. We need to have a careful look at this. So, what if I do the same seed but not frozen? Then I end up with Reed Beach. Basically a lot of that on my river, which is what I want. But in the ice situation, I end up with dead forest on my ice. And I think the issue, let's take a look at where the dead forest is being made. Neutral land forest on neutral land terrain. That's not it. Swamp forest on swamp terrain. That's not it. Neutral, oh boy. Map base forest. Oh, I also am creating still dirt here. That should be fixed. How am I going to do this? Just a second. Let's go like that. See if that deals with my issue. Then I need to also fix this. That does deal with my issue. It also gets rid of the forests over here. So, how do I do this? Option 1 is to make this ice a different ice than that ice. So we need to deal with this stuff. This trick map base layer. This should work if I make this 26. This should work. I feel like it should work. So we get our forests back on this. And we get the forests back on the rivers. Alright, what if we make it icy shore? That is the ice beach terrain. That's not ideal, but for testing purposes. What if we did that? Huh. I'm not sure what's going on. Alright, what if we don't make the shallows ice? What if we make them DLC black? Alright, maybe there is just supposed to be swamp? Huh. Well, I guess. Let's check carefully if we regenerate this, what happens. Okay, we'll leave it for now. I think maybe I was seeing an issue where there isn't one. What we do need to deal with is we needed something that's in here. Const base const layered. What are we gonna call this? Map base layer. We're gonna go. We're gonna replace that with replace all, and then we're gonna go here. Map base layer 2, and that was currently dirt, which is like 3 maybe on terrains. No, actually the normal dirt is brown with the occasional cactus. That's 6. So we do this. Okay. And then we go over here and we say map base layer 2. That should fix that. So it will still be dirt for now, but maybe we can find something that looks better. So instead of dirt, I think we leave dirt. Dirt actually looks fine there. Something like this. Now, we need more reeds. So the reeds are still ending up on the little river bits. We place them on DLC wet beach, we place them on beach. And can we place them on ice? And do I want on the ice beach? And do I want to do that? Maybe I do. On icy shore. Something like this. Where do I create DLC wet beach? We'll go here and go to swamp. I think swamp forest is always going to be this. Where beach becomes DLC water 5. So really I should do here replace terrain icy shore with DLC water 5. And then we really need all of this set up properly. Icy shore. Wherever we have beach, we also need to do icy shore. Terrain size, icy shore, 3-1. And I feel like everything else can stay. Alright, let's take a look at our map when we do this. Alright, of course we don't get reeds where the river is completely frozen. I guess that's okay. And we do end up with some reeds elsewhere. Do I want those? Maybe I don't. Maybe I don't want the reeds there. Maybe there should be no reeds on the frozen map. Oh, I really need more ice terrains. Or I need ice terrains to look different. So if we don't do that, and with the wet beach, we say, if we just did, if we replace that with ice, is that a problem? We would end up with these bits of ice. Which I think looks better here, doesn't it? So what are we going to call this? This was with like sandbank terrain. Sandbank terrain. Then we go here and we go const sandbank terrain ice. Well, here you could really allow ships to go through, but I won't. And then we go down here and we go check what the constant for DLC wet beach is, which DLC wet beach give me is 107. Wet beach. Alright, so now we just have these bits of ice. We have our frozen swamp. We have our other ice, our azure shallows. For some reason, a lot of trees end up on the ice, though. I wonder if this is normal. Maybe, let me check the connection section as well. I probably am using ice too much. I still feel that's the issue. Also, some comment is broken. Oh, this thing here. We don't need that anymore. What am I doing here? I'm replacing swamp terrain with lake terrain. A lake terrain is just water. I'm replacing beaches and icy shores. I'm replacing map-based terrain with a shallows type. And map-based forest with reed shallows. Which apparently isn't happening at all. Do I not have reed shallows defined? Oh, I do not. Is reed shallows a terrain that is defined at all? No, reed shallows is 90. Where is reed shallows defined anywhere? This is an issue. One match, alright. Const reed shallows 90. That could be an issue that we will resolve. Ah, that explains the problems I was seeing. Now comes the question, do I want that? Do I want that in my rivers? Or not? Could be okay. Could be okay. Let's try some other. We'll put this though at the top as well. Let me just quickly check here as well. Lake terrain, that's just water. Am I ever not going to want that to be water? River terrain is azure water, isn't it? 58. 58 is azure water, yeah. Dark gravel, ice, ice. Snow, snow weak. Just make sure everything is properly named here. Swamp forest is mangrove forest. Grove forest. There we go. Snow pine forest, autumn oak tree. That's not an autumn oak tree, that's an autumn snow tree. That I'm putting into that. Ice, dirt, snow weak, snow strong, underbrush, azure shallows, gravel, mud, ice. Underbrush, snow, 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 snow. That all looks okay. I still feel I could use weaker snow on the player lands. Let's just try that one more time. If I do this. Then go check the middle again. It just has no effect, I feel. No, it actually has no effect. Why is that? Does it only work on snow layers on top of the terrain? And if I do 32 here? No. Okay. I think that's okay. Layer under forest is done. R&D everywhere can be done later. Check the syntax guide. What do I need to check? Check syntax guide. Syntax should be fine. Seasons with different connections and ice. Working on that. So let's just take a look at a couple generations. See if we're happy with what's happened today. I don't know about this dirt after all. Maybe this dirt needs to be ice. Or something. Where is it? It's this thing here. Or can we make it underbrush snow? That would be 72. Let's try 72. Ah, yes, that looks much better. And let's also do that actually for something over here. For like the gravel. Maybe for the gravel? Or for the mud? It's for the mud. Underbrush snow. I think we want that where the mud is. To make the whole map more snowy. Better, better, better. I'm tempted to also do it to the gravel. Since we end up with a lot of gravel, but maybe this is okay. And also I want some different music, so what can we have as some epic music to finish up? Let's do The Last Cons. Frozen Swamp is looking good. Rivers are looking acceptable. Mountain forests are fine. We're getting there. I feel like we have too many gravel patches still. So we're gonna do more underbrush snow. Do I? Make it even more frozen. Also, how do I feel about the mountains? They look okay. Maybe I want a brighter gravel after all. So what gravel options do we have? If we did the desert gravel, which one was that? Lighter version of gravel, 102. If we went for the light gravel instead. Yes, it does. Do I like that better? We'll take a look at the mangrove swamp in just a second. Do I like that better as a mountain terrain? No, it's too deserty. We're gonna try 70 with his normal gravel again. So we can take a fence and see, yes, you can wall it. We can put a fortress on it. We can find a dock, and we can dock the edge of it. We can also dock the inside edge of it. And we can also take a fast fire ship and put it on there. So yeah, so basically all of the snow covering is cosmetic only. And I've made a nice frozen swamp. The only thing that kind of annoys me is that when you upgrade trees, it persists in the scenario editor. So I tried to do something clever where I was going to replace basically try to unupgrade it by replacing the tree with itself. Maybe you have experience with this. Is there a way to do something like that? I couldn't, like, this didn't work for me. I wanted it to fix it in the scenario editor so that when you don't have a frozen map, it would upgrade the tree with itself to bring it back to normal, but that probably doesn't work because it's now a new tree, so you can't. It's upgrading the new tree with the new tree, not the old one with the old one. Anyway, that didn't work, but this works. So it's functionally a similar swamp to when it's not frozen. The connection rivers are frozen. I could have those be shallow too, but I think I am going to have them frozen actually. And then the only other thing to finish off was to look at the terrains and say, what do I want and what do I think doesn't look good after all? And I wonder, maybe we swap a few more things around. Like I could take the azure shallows here and put them there, and then I just put a lot of underbrush snow onto the player land. I mean, that's mostly underbrush snow already. But it's supposed to be a very snowy map, so maybe we don't have normal underbrush and we do that. And do we get rid of the azure shallows too? Not sure yet. Something like that. Oh, I'm still putting ice onto the snow, but if I'm putting a lot of ice down here... Did I not? Okay, so I'm putting azure shallows here, and I'm also still putting ice up there onto the player lands. I guess we can allow that. Okay, I feel like the frozen terrain is basically done, isn't it? These are terrains, forests, layers. The swamp is denser when there's less of it. I don't think I can easily adjust that though, because I don't know how much there will be. It's not always. It's really only dense when there's a very small amount of it. Also, I still have the option of just putting ice on top of the mountains, but I've already put ice into the rivers and said that this ice is not saleable. Actually, yeah, there's one more thing I want to test. Let's see if they fixed this bug. It doesn't look like it. That does not look very promising. That does not look promising at all. Sad, they fixed so many other things. This was always a thing where the rendering... Or is it just... Well, let's generate it again. It's an editor-only bug, yeah. Basically, the 3D effects persist from the first time you generate it. Although it doesn't seem to be the case now, it's just that they're... Actually, it is the case now, look at that. This is 3D, that's not 3D. But that's always been the case, it's only in the scenario editor though. And you can't see it if you don't have those things on. So that's fine. Yeah. So the only issue I have in the scenario editor. How do the waves show on blended terrain? They just show, period. Any terrain that has waves on them will show, no matter what the blend is. So what that means is that where I put these azure shallows here onto the snow, you will see those in game. We can look at that in a moment. Also, this is something I need to look at. I mean, I'm doing 6 players on a 6-player map, maybe 50 for the min placement distance is a bit too large. What if I said like 46? If we just try the same seed, does that solve the issue? No. How about 43? Well, it got one of the players out of the middle. I count that as a success. Was 50. Well, let's take a look at an actual game. For that, we're going to want the seed to be 100% frozen. And we also pick a new track to play. Something more. This'll do. We can hide the script actually while I'm testing in here, can't we? Empire Wars, no Empire Wars. We need, this should be that one. We can start in Feudal Age, that's fine. I mean, editor-only bugs aren't huge. It just means that it's that you have this. You just don't test with those things on, which means I never play with any of those 3D things rendered on. So silly me, I forgot to turn on these things. So let's try that again. So here the water is essentially correct. We're gonna have to turn off the music. This is... Actually, we'll leave it. So the issue now is that you end up with waves on the snow, which isn't the biggest issue, to be honest. And you end up with waves here, but They don't look problematic because it looks sort of like wind maybe blowing over some snowdrifts, in my opinion. What you do get, let me see, where's my... Do I not have idle villagers? Do I have a town center? Yes. Okay. Why are the icons all gone? I don't know what I did to do that. I've experienced that issue before, but I don't know why. Alright, I thought you would end up with little waves on the footprints, but that's not an issue there. Let's walk over to the swamp. Or maybe, is it something with the newest pup build? It's also possible that that's the thing. I thought sometimes it happens though when you change around some graphics settings, and I don't know exactly. I've had it happen before, that's all I know. Do we see, so here we have, you have little water effects from them walking. Probably I need to turn particles to high to really take advantage of this. You can barely see it. I think that looks fine. I mean, I assume just casual players all have it on. It does look better, normally. Just not in the scenario editor. So we go off, off. So they fixed in this, I don't know if you know this, they fixed in the scenario editor, you can do direct placement maps and they don't break other maps anymore. So that is nice. I do have one issue still though with this map. Give me the map script. And that is... Yeah, the issue in the scenario editor with upgrading the trees, where I now have dead trees instead of mangrove trees, but it's only in the scenario editor as well, and only after I've generated the frozen map. So I just have a dead swamp then. But I think as a frozen swamp it works quite well. We'll call the other one temperate. I'll add more terrain seasons, probably not today. That might be something for next time. Temperate. Did I spell that correctly? Maybe. Elsif temperate. Got all that. We could do color correction. We could do color correction quickly if we wanted to. Color correction goes here later. Yeah, there we go. If frozen, frozen, and if. CC winter. I don't know if I should have more reeds or if I should make this water saleable? I think not. There'll be plenty of fish and stuff. Oh, my script is still hidden. Ha, there we go. Not that I've made any remarkable changes. I added color correction, which isn't a thing in the scenario editor anyway. Or actually it is. But only it sometimes does weird things. So winter, this jungle, winter, empty. Yeah, it's on. Desert, autumn. I still need to get my custom ones set up. Heh. This is a nighttime one that actually looks kind of cool. But you'd have to provide the whole color correction as a mod as well. So I don't know. That's a project that I started and never finished. I guess what other biomes would I have? What other seasons? We could have a desert. We could have a desert. We could have a jungle. We could have sort of a dry tropical style, maybe. We could also have gravel desert. We already have gravel anyway. We do need a normal desert. We do need a jungle. I think that would be where it starts. Am I gonna do any of those today though? That's the question. I think I might call it. Well, we can maybe do a little bit more. Get our 6 players onto the map again. I'm going to put Frozen on 0% chance so we can actually get our mangrove trees back. So to get the mangrove trees back, we're going to have to quit to the main menu. Get our 6 players again. Get our map again. Get our players again. And now our swamp is actually a mangrove swamp again, which can look okay on a temperate map. Temperate location? Locale? I think so. We have that area. Don't ask me how I did all the land generation. This is too long ago. I mean, it's not even that long ago, but it's just tricks, a bunch of tricks. I mean, I could actually do another season. What should we do? Desert? Let's try desert. Actually, I should take a moment to properly put comments on all of these terrains, shouldn't I? If desert. That's not a good name. Desert map. Else if frozen map. Alright, let me quickly do that. Terrain 9 is... do a bit of terrain work. Firefox. Terrain 9 is grass 3. Just for the future, that this is easier to look at. Grass 3, player land terrain, that's like 12, grass 2, okay. Then we have neutral land terrain, that's grass 1. Then we have swamp terrain 54. I thought it was 55. Well, that's fascinating. And not Huh. Or am I just... No, I'm just being silly. It's the swamp terrain, that's fine. That's... Ah, come on. I learned this trick from you. You just click on this again, and then you say, oh, there's a broken comment. Okay. Mangrove... Oh, yeah. Mangrove shallows. It's probably going to be mangrove shallows in every biome, because that's the only way I can make it amphibious and buildable. Water. Do I have... Yeah, that's the same. River terrain, that's also azure water. And then we have hill terrain, that's gravel. I have to see what I do with the hills in the desert. Maybe the hills will be green. Shallows are shallows. Wet beach is wet beach. Player land forest. 20 is some sort of oak. It's the oak bush forest. Yeah, oak bush forest. Neutral land forest is the pine forest. Map base forest is dragon tree forest. Don't ask me what that's doing on a temperate map. But those areas I envisioned as being dry areas. Swamp forest is mangrove. Swamp. Mangrove forest. What did I call it up there, actually? Mangrove forest, yeah, that makes sense. Then map, that's some sort of dirt terrain, isn't it? Dirt 2, yeah. Then hill medium layer is snow light. This is going to be snow heavy or snow deep. Dirt 2 lacks a space, so it does. So if I now generated this, what would happen is that the entire map would likely be blank. Yeah. Catastrophic. Luckily, that at least... What's annoying is that the highlighter still notes it as a comment, but you would need... Well, I couldn't do it with Notepad. You'd need to do a different text editor that allows more fancy custom languages. 71 is somewhere down here. Underbrush leaves. Can I just call that underbrush? Probably underbrush. Which I spelled horribly wrong. Underbrush. It's 5. 5 is going to be some sort of dirt, isn't it? Leaves. Okay, it's leaves. 100 DLC dry grass. Yeah. Dry grass. What you can do is there's the thing for Visual Studio, and that's pretty good at finding all syntax errors. I don't think it's completely updated though, so if you use something that DE added recently, it'll flag that too, but that's pretty good at finding things that are wrong. Dirt 3, Dirt 3, yep. Dirt 3. I haven't used it that much. I ran hyper-random through it a couple times at some point. Not recently, though. Well, there were a couple things where, like, it was made before circle radius had the variance as the second number and so on, and I don't think it's been updated for that. You do need to set it up to be running for a definitive edition. Underbrush jungle. Huh. I made some good terrain choices here. Neutral layer 1. And I have way too many terrains overall on this thing already. Dirt 3. Neutral layer 2, that's like dirt 2 or something, yeah. Then we have swamp layers galore, 76. What is that? That's mud? Okay. Then 71 is underbrush again, okay. Underbrush. 95 and 96 are green and brown water. Green water. I do. So I'm using it. It's a layer in different places. For the snow map, I needed to reuse a lot of things just because there aren't many choices. And for the layers, it should be safe generally to use them multiple times. For the actual terrains, I need to be careful because that might then mess up connections or something. Or objects that I don't have yet. 96 is brown water. And 90 is reed shallows. Reed shallows. Did I call? That's not true. 90 is reed shallows. That shouldn't be there though, should it? What's reed shallows doing there? Or am I actually putting reed? Huh. That is interesting. Why am I putting reed shallows? Apparently I'm putting them into the swamp. Well, okay. Sure. Now that we've fixed our comment. So the dirt 2, it's being put onto these lowland areas once, and then it's also being put onto these areas here, and that's not a good example of one, but onto these medium level areas. So that's why it appears twice. Shouldn't interfere with anything though. I wonder if I can use the accumulate connections thing actually to be useful now. But I don't think I need it. I was gonna call it a night, but since you're here, I think I'm gonna get started on the desert too. So go here. Percent chance. 100 desert map, and then we can think about what terrains we want in a desert. Why is it taking a long time to generate? I didn't do anything. Ah, don't tell me that crashes. Why should that crash the game? I mean, it's a mistake, yes, but why should that crash the game? Well, let me restart the game. So in the desert, we have the opportunity to put some crack terrain somewhere. And I think the crack terrain is gonna go... They improved the loading times for the game in the pub build, I think. Because I have the same number of mods, they're all off, but they're no longer impacting the load time. Either the load time is generally better or it's actually ignoring mods that are off now. Either way, that's good. Yeah, so I was thinking cracked terrain in the areas that are currently have the dragon forest, sort of these lower areas. The alternative would be to have cracked mountains, but I think... Or... Ooh. Can we have a cracked swamp? Let's experiment. So the cracked desert is DLC quicksand. No. DLC cracked is 45. So if we just cover the swamp a la Frozen style with the cracked terrain. Cracked desert. And we just do that a couple times. What kind of cracked swamp are we going to end up with? This could be interesting. That looks surprisingly okay. That looks surprisingly fine. Where else would I want to use that? I mean, the buildings won't take more damage, that's just cosmetic, but that looks surprisingly okay. Alright, where else? We wanted it as the map base terrain. I think that's what I want cracked as well. Let's try that. Alright, so that would make a lot of areas cracked. Maybe more than I actually want to be cracked. Yeah. Especially since I'm going to be masking it so heavily that you can barely see it. Maybe not like that. Do we make this low area sandy then? And the higher areas dirt? Maybe something like that? We could try that. So we need some sand. That will be 14. Where am I working? We said... I should do these in order, actually, to not... Oh, I am doing it in order. Yeah, all good. 14. Sand. Desert. We also have fun things like quicksand. As I recently discovered, quicksand is used to replace shallows on a lot of mega random generations. So if we did something like that... And dirt looks a bit different than desert, so I could make the mountains out of dirt. As an option. What am I going to do with the player lands though? Make them desert as well, some sort of desert. Maybe. So we're going to need dirt as the... Alright, now the hills are... Wait. The hills are using gravel. No, that's fine. The hill terrain can now be dirt. If I did that, the hills look a bit different than the surrounding terrain on the mini-map. They still have snow on top, but we can deal with that later. Then what am I going to do with the remaining grass areas? What other deserty terrains do we have available? If I put a dirt on the player lands, it's going to look like if I put dirt 2... We already have dirt 2. If I put... No, we don't. If I put dirt 2 on the player lands, that's gonna get rid of the contrast to the hills. So how can I do that differently? How many other sandy desert terrains are there? All the gravel ones? Actually, I can just check. Let's see here. We need ones that look so beach, but we're not using beach. Desert. Cracked. Alright, we are going to need to use cracked somewhere. Just because we only have so many. Quicksand. I think I'm not going to turn the rivers into quicksand. DLC. We don't want things behaving like beach. We have the choice of using gravel in all kinds of places. I can do beach non-navigable. I could try these various beaches. Like 79, the non-navigable beach. That might be something. And then I have desert gravel on offer. So if we made the player lands, what kind of land would people build on? Let's try the desert gravel. Still might make it a nomad start in the end. I mean, it certainly contrasts. And I guess it could be sort of a rocky outcropping, and then... That's not the worst, I can live with that. Maybe. We still need to deal with all the blending, of course. Then we still have this neutral area. What could that be? Is that going to be cracked? Am I going to put cracked anywhere? I might not put cracked anywhere. So let's try, if I just straight up try the fake beach. Beach non-navigable 79. So that's desert gravel. And this could be beach non-navigable. I don't know how well that will blend though. The normal beaches don't blend at all. The non-navigable ones do blend, but they blend like ice, which doesn't look great often. Just call it that. Well, not the worst. Do I put the players onto something different though than desert gravel? Maybe. Maybe not. Ooh, I did something weird. Okay. Mangrove shallows can stay as mangrove shallows. Water can stay as water. Azure water can stay as azure water. Hill can be dirt. Shallows. Let's make them azure shallows. Do I have azure shallows listed? I still have them down there. I think those might make sense on a desert map. Although in reality, like there where there is water, plants and lily pads and so on would grow. Sandbanks can stay as wet beach, that's fine. Player land forest. Okay, we have some forests to deal with. What we have in game, we would have baobab forests. I acacia forests and dragon forests to choose from. So let's put the dragon forest as the player land forest. And the neutral land forest can be the baobab forest. For that we'll need, that's 49. 49 baobab. And the map base forest, that can be the acacia forest, that can be 50. Acacia. Is that spelled correctly? There's a C missing. There we go. And what is going to fill the swamp? Not oak trees. I want to fill it with dead trees. Ah, 50. There we go. Then we just have to deal with the mangrove areas. And all of this stuff. See how that looks. And then I have this weird, I thought I had dealt with this, where I was gonna layer forest, or layer terrains on this so it doesn't look as obvious. Give me a second. We need to do that. And do that. Alright. Let's quickly check the code. I was doing some stuff to layer on the forest that I saw on the recent maps I looked at. So when I was doing terrain mask on that forest, am I also doing terrain mask on the neutral forest? I have too much code already. Forest. Alright, so I could actually add the terrain mask into those as well. Yeah, so the forests blend in better. We'll do that. Swamp forest. We don't have a swamp to look at for this right now. Actually, we do. Yeah, that's all blending fine under the forest. Perfect. Alright. Cool, cool, cool. And we need to deal with the top of the mountains. I think that's where I'm going to put the gravel. So... and then we'll deal with the mangrove forests later. We'll have to deal with a lot of this stuff, but the hilltop layer, hill medium layer can be desert gravel. That was 102, wasn't it? I think so. Yes, that's 102. Desert gravel. And then we can do just the normal gravel. Something like that, maybe? I want to try to avoid putting rock terrain, since players will think it's unbuildable. I feel like that looks alright. We still have this to deal with. All in due time, though. Let's also not use the same seed. And we have that to deal with. But our rivers are looking good. Our rivers are looking good. The other thing that I'd like to do, but there's really no way to deal with that, is to have like these streams not go over elevation, but the way I'm creating this, all that just doesn't work, period. Map base layer is currently dirt 2. So I'm going to do my typical thing of saying, alright, what if it's DLC black instead? Where does that end up being? That ends up being in these places. I think dirt 2 actually looked pretty good there. Yeah. Or I could put in quicksand or something like that. Since this will be these areas here. Oh, I mean, some of these terrains just look fine. Like, having the second one be dirt, too. Dirt as well, that looks fine. Well, alright, the hills are fine. Hilltop layer is okay. Now, we are not having underbrush on that. We're gonna go right to sand desert. What I'm not putting on it right now are actually palm trees. I could. Let's... Quick side thing. What if I do... palm tree there. Palm trees. Well, maybe I don't have any wet beach. Palm trees, of course, probably can't be placed on beach, so I'd have to use a second object. Yeah, I think all the reeds will be gone if I do that. But if desert, we'll do this differently when it's actually done, but just for now. Second object, palm tree. I still have something on my clipboard, I don't know what that is. Sand desert, okay. We'll do this, we'll abstract that afterwards as well. Hey! I don't think that looks half bad. Maybe I should put in the normal shallows again instead of the azure shallows. Yeah, this is the weird blending that beach does. Let me put in the normal shallows again, see what that looks like. Azure shallows, if we did normal shallows. Is that more realistic? It actually is. Because the shallows wouldn't be free of plants unless the water is running very fast or it's salty, which it's not in these cases. But what I was actually wanting to do is put some of this onto the player lands. there. And let's also just do random seeds again. Alright, so that's a good starting basis. We can just put that. I'm not going to want leaves on here either. And I'm not going to want underbrush jungle. Get rid of all of those for now. And what am I still left with on the player lands? Well, actually it looks cool with the palm trees. So I do have some greenish areas. I think that's okay. I'm doing two different things though still. I'm putting dirt 2 and 3. Dirt 3 is the greenish. No, wait, I'm putting dry grass and dirt 3. What if we put in some dirt layering on the dirt 3? Then, alright, I mean that's what that would look like. What if we try something different? We still have quicksand available. And quicksand has an ID of 46. If we try that, quicksand. So I guess the nice thing is once you've built up the land, all the land stuff and the basic terrain stuff, and abstracted it, then you can just sub in terrains easily. Yeah, quicksand. Quicksand looks good on gravel. It does. Good enough that I might get rid of the rest of the green parts. And go like that. I feel like I want more quicksand. Maybe that was too much quicksand. Maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe not. What if we put in like some quicksand there? And some sand desert there. Or we leave that. I feel like it's looking pretty nice here. Yeah, that's looking solid. Looking solid. Baobab doesn't look great on beach. So my option there is to make that the crack terrain after all. $45 is cracked. So where do we have the beach? What if we do crack there after all? Yeah. We still have the mangrove jungle in the room that we haven't dealt with. What kind of trees would I want that to be in a brackish salt flat-ish? Acacia trees? Not baobab trees. I could be partial to acacia trees. Or like bushes. Maybe we upgrade them into bushes on the desert map. We might do that. Yeah. Bush A. $302. Does that not have a constant of its own? It might not. Oh, that's a jungle bush. I don't want that. What else do we have on offer? Italian pine tree. Olive tree. Cypress tree. Alright, let's... Tree. Give me some trees. Tree. No. Cypress, no. Dead. Dragon. Italian pine. Italian pine wouldn't be the worst. Like Italian pine surrounded by dead trees? We're not doing jungle trees, we're not doing mangrove trees, we're not doing autumn. The olive trees are a bit too olivey. Alright, let's upgrade them into Italian pines. Let me check the bushes quickly. Bush. No. Bush B. Bush B would be okay too. Bush C is frozen. Can't have that, but we could do Bush B. Let's upgrade them into Italian pines, though. Upgrade unit. We're on the right map. until Italian pine tree. There we go. Try that. We can also do one more thing. If desert map, color correction, CC desert. That looks surprisingly okay. Although I really would like to get rid of this. So let's do a bit of shenanigans with our swamp on forest thing. We'll just do that. That should help. Yeah. Cool. Alright. There is probably still some tweaking that I might want to do, but I need to sleep on that. Think about it. Think about if I want to do some of this stuff differently, possibly. Yeah. I think that's it. I think I need to... We'll just generate a few more of these, but I think I'm done for today at this point. We still have a jungle map to do. That will be a good thing for whenever, possibly tomorrow. Not Saturday, likely not Sunday. Might also be a longer break, but I think code-wise... I watched it last weekend, yeah. Speaking of which, actually, you're right. I guess it is going to be on Friday as well. I could just compete for Red Bull viewers. How about that? No, I did actually watch a lot of it last weekend. Or I could position myself to collect all of the Red Bull viewers after the event is done for the day. Just call it like Red Bull Wolo after party when I'm actually just making a map. I did get raided by someone medium-sized at some point. I think it was because the servers were down, so no one could matchmake. So, you know, some streamer with like 200 people was like, who am I gonna host? But yeah, no, I'm not gonna. That with Red Bull, that's not gonna work. Okay. All right, let's just see what we achieve today. We're gonna not look at the frozen map. We're gonna look at the desert one. Ooh, we have a huge lake. I still need to put in fish and stuff, but maybe tweak some trains later. But yeah, I will. Well, I'm not going to go to bed this instant. I'm going to go eat a snack and do something relaxing and then go to bed. Because talking, you wouldn't think it, but talking for, I don't know, the stream has been running for 3 hours? Like, that's pushing it. I can do longer, but I would need to take breaks if it was much longer than this. I think this looks cool. And I'll find people to play this map. Or I'll recommend it for Red Bull 05. Make an Empire Wars version. It is. It is. I noticed that when I was streaming all of those tournament games, that some of those were 4-hour streams. Pretty long. Alright, yeah. Map is looking good. I'm going to call this a stream, and I'll see when I work on it again. The next thing to do would be to add the jungle, and then I can see what we do from there. Yep. Thanks for being here. It's always fun when there are at least a few people to chat with. Yeah. I think this looks good. So we can stop streaming if I click over here.